pressure from global challenges such as the climate change, food security, and COVID-19 pandemic. Despite these challenges, our world has made great strides in advancing growth. Digitalization, for example, helped micro and small enterprises across the globe build capabilities and increase market access. An unprecedented global collaboration led to a vaccine rolled out that has vaccinated over 60% of the world's population in less than 2 years. The global economy is recovering, and this is our chance to shape a better future for our planet and our people. The B20 is providing the platform to make this happen.
Since its establishment in 2010, the Business 20 or B20 has served as the voice of the business community in the G20 forum. Together, B20 participants are committed to making impact in the world, voicing out their ideas to push private-led economic transformation forward.
B20 business leaders are the front-runners in working to solve the biggest global challenges, such as spearheading green transformation, promoting trade and investment, developing infrastructures, leading digital innovation, and advancing equality.
As business leaders in the group of 20, the future relies on you to find lasting solution to our current global challenges and pave the way forward.
This year, Indonesia is honored to be the host of the G20 and B20 summits. As the fourth largest nation, the biggest economy in Southeast Asia, and one of the world's most prominent emerging markets, Indonesia is home to 270 million consumers, 63 million MSMEs, and 12 tech unicorns. Boasting rapid digital growth and emerging sustainable development, Indonesia truly is a land of opportunities. Under this year's theme of advancing innovative, inclusive, and collaborative growth, the B20 stands ready to promote dialogue among business players in G20 countries, provide policy recommendations, and launch initiatives on issues that matter. The themes are aligned with the key messages from inception meeting.
Berharap komunitas B20 akan memberikan tawaran-tawaran konkret yang bisa menjadi bagian dari capaian konkret KTT G20.
And the leadership of governments like Indonesia is going to be absolutely essential in this decisive decade of our climate fight.
It's a great example of how businesses and governments can work together. The B20 plays an important role in spurring more of these collaborations.
The B20 has established several task forces to push progress forward and ensure that we will create recommendations that are actionable, sustainable, and inclusive. These task forces will represent the business community and advocate policy recommendations to the government. In this B20 presidency, we are committed to creating legacy programs that lay foundation for positive, lasting impact across G20 countries, marked by big new ideas, international collaboration, and tangible as well as sustainable impact, prototype in Indonesia and to be scaled globally.
You too can be a part of this movement and make your mark on the future of business and the global economy through our B20 Indonesia. By participating in our legacy programs and B20 events, you will shape strategic moves, making meaningful connections, and collaborate to build a stronger economy together.
We welcome you to become a part of our journey toward a better tomorrow.
Halo, selamat pagi teman kumparan semuanya. Saya Melisa Lolindu. Saat ini saya berada di Media Center di Nusa Dua Bali, di mana hari kami akan melaporkan kepada teman kumparan semuanya bagaimana gelaran event B20 Indonesia Summit 2022 yang berlangsung di Nusa Dua Bali selama 2 hari sejak hari ini dan besok tanggal 13 sampai tanggal 14 November 2022. Menyusul nantinya akan ada acara puncak dari G20 di tanggal 15 dan 16 November 2022. Dan saya tentunya tidak akan melaporkan sendirian karena sudah ada rekan-rekan teman-teman saya yang lainnya, jurnalis kumparan yang sudah ada di beberapa titik yang ada di sekitar area Nusa Dua Bali ini yang akan melaporkan kepada teman kumparan semuanya apa saja yang terjadi di gelaran B20 Indonesia Summit tahun ini. Dan seperti yang kita ketahui, B20 Summit ini menjadi gelaran yang penting untuk menyatukan pemimpin bisnis global dalam berkolaborasi untuk menghasilkan rekomendasi kebijakan bagi negara-negara G20 sebagai upaya pemulihan ekonomi dan juga upaya untuk menghadapi tantangan bisnis dunia ke depan. Dan apa saja agenda yang akan dilakukan, kemudian tamu-tamu undangan yang datang, siapa saja dari negara-negara mana saja, tentunya kita akan mengetahuinya langsung dari rekan-rekan jurnalis saya yang sudah ada di beberapa titik. Ada Ave, ada Nica, dan juga Alia. Baik, ini dia. Hello girls. Good morning. Baik, teman kumparan, kalau Melisa, selamat pagi. Kalau Melisa ada di Media Center, Alia dan juga Nica ini berada di venue B20 Summit, kemudian Ave juga berada di salah satu venue lain di Nusa Dua, tepatnya di Hotel Mulia untuk melaporkan agenda yang akan dilakukan di sana. Saya akan terlebih dahulu ke Alia. Halo, selamat pagi Alia Bunga.
Selamat pagi Melisa.
Baik, apa saja yang sudah berlangsung di sana Alia, dan saat ini sedang berjalan agenda apa di pembukaan B20 ini?
Oke, baik Melisa, saya sedang berada di lobi Bali Nusa Dua Convention Center. Di sini seperti yang bisa didengar sangat berisik ya, jadi kayak banyak sekali orang-orang di sini. Saya melihat dari jam 8 tadi di sini, dan ribuan orang sudah memadati lobi. Mereka sudah memasuki acara summit pertama dari jam 9.30, di mana nantinya chairwoman dari G20 yakni Sinta Wijaya Kamdani akan memberikan pidato sambutannya, disusul juga dengan Ketua Kamar Dagang dan Industri Indonesia Bapak Arsyad Rashid. Jadi di sini saya juga sudah melihat beberapa panel sudah ada dimulai, dan beberapa orang dari mancanegara dan dalamnya juga sudah memadati mereka. Di sini mereka juga tadi juga sudah berfoto-foto di belakang saya bisa dilihat, dan acara ini juga banyak sekali orang-orang yang hadir.
Baik, terima kasih.
Partisipasinya sangat antusias sekali saya melihat orang-orang mancanegara di Indonesia ini.
Baik, bisa terlihat juga, saya juga sejak pagi juga melihat di sekitar area Nusa Dua ini ya, di mana delegasi maupun awak media juga dari mancanegara, bukan hanya dari Indonesia tapi dari luar negeri juga sudah mulai berkumpul sejak pagi tadi. Terima kasih Alia, saya mau move dulu ke Nica. Hai Nica.
Hai Melisa, selamat pagi.
Halo, selamat pagi Nica. Baik, agenda saat ini seperti apa di tempat atau di posisi Nica saat ini?
Oke, baik Melisa dan juga teman kumparan, selamat bergabung. Saat ini saya berada di Bali Nusa Dua Convention Center, tepatnya di ruangan Kintamani tadi. Ada beberapa nota kerjasama seperti itu ya, kesepakatan untuk melakukan transisi energi bersih. Tadi sempat ada disaksikan oleh Bapak Menteri SDM Arifin Tasrif dengan beberapa perusahaan seperti itu, perusahaan energi, dan salah satunya adalah dari PT Vale Indonesia Tbk yang melakukan kerjasama dengan perusahaan asal China yaitu Huayou untuk berkomitmen menghasilkan energi bersih seperti itu Melisa.
Baik, terima kasih Nica. Tadi sudah dipaparkan ya ada penandatanganan MOU begitu ya. Untuk hari ini sendiri ada lagi kah kesepakatan yang akan ditandatangani dan terkait hal apa Nica?
Ya, hari ini ada beberapa MOU yang dilakukan oleh perusahaan energi dan beberapa perusahaan lainnya. Untuk pagi ini tadi memang fokus untuk perusahaan energi seperti kumparan tadi dari Pertamina, dari Vale. Untuk dari Vale sendiri, dia akan membuka untuk proses merupakan bagian dari komitmen Vale untuk membangun portofolio proyek kelas dunia yang mengangkut penambangan berbasis integrasi berikutnya, yaitu proyek HPAL untuk Blok Pomala yang ada di dalamnya Sulawesi Tenggara seperti itu saja, dengan menghasilkan hingga 120 gigawatt yang menjadi bagian penting untuk ekosistem baterai kendaraan seperti itu.
Baik, terima kasih Nica untuk penjelasannya. Teman kumparan, yang pasti B20 Indonesia Summit tahun ini merupakan bisa dikatakan lengan bisnis G20 ya, di mana B20 ini merupakan forum dialog resmi G20 bagi komunitas bisnis global. Dan Kamar Dagang dan Industri Indonesia atau Kadin Indonesia ini dipercaya menjadi penyelenggara B20 Summit oleh pemerintah Indonesia selaku tuan rumah dari KTT G20. Dari Nica di venue B20, saya mau move pindah ke Ave. Ave, halo, selamat pagi.
Halo, selamat pagi Melisa.
Baik, saat ini Ave berada di Hotel Mulia, di mana ada agenda bersama Kementerian Keuangan Republik Indonesia. Boleh diceritakan atau dilaporkan agenda hari ini ada apa saja, Ave?
Oke, terima kasih Melisa. Selamat pagi teman kumparan. Jadi pagi hari sejak pukul 8 pagi Hotel Mulia sudah terpantau ramai karena akan diselenggarakan kegiatan Grand Final and Awarding Ceremony Finance and Health Innovation 2022. Jadi di kegiatan ini Kementerian Keuangan bersama dengan Kementerian Kesehatan mengajak seluruh masyarakat untuk mengikuti perlombaan meningkatkan fitur kesehatan seperti pada aplikasi Peduli Lindungi atau JKN Mobile. Lalu Melisa, kemarin tepatnya Sabtu, Menteri Keuangan Sri Mulyani bersama dengan Menteri Kesehatan Budi Sadikin telah melakukan konferensi pers. Mereka membahas tentang pandemic fund atau uang bantuan kepada sejumlah negara yang memang mengalami krisis. Dalam kegiatan tersebut, kepala negara G20 sepakat untuk patungan sebesar 1,4 miliar US dollar atau kalau kita rupiahkan itu sekitar 21 triliun. Dan rencananya nanti siang akan ada peresmian atau launching oleh Presiden Joko Widodo tentang pandemic fund ini, Melisa. Seperti itu.
Baik, wah terima kasih Ave untuk informasinya. Dan soal pandemic fund ini juga nanti akan sedikit kita singgung dalam wawancara eksklusif kita bersama dengan Menteri Keuangan Republik Indonesia Ibu Sri Mulyani. Tahan dulu di sana Ave, saya nanti akan kembali lagi ke Ave tentunya dan ke Nica juga ke Alia. Tapi sebelumnya kita akan berpindah dulu, kita akan melihat gambar atau situasi yang terjadi di main hall venue B20, teman kumparan. Baik, kita akan melihat gambar di dalam venue B20 Summit. Baik, kita lihat ini adalah situasi terkini teman kumparan di main hall venue dari B20, di mana saat ini chair dari B20 sedang memberikan sambutannya atau paparannya, yaitu Sinta Kamdani yang dipercaya sebagai chair untuk B20 Summit ini. Baik, ini merupakan puncak pertemuan forum B20 Summit Indonesia, di mana sepanjang B20 Summit ini, teman kumparan, sebanyak sekitar 90 ahli terkemuka di bidangnya, termasuk para pembicara dan juga moderator yang berbagi pengalaman dan juga pengetahuan tentang prioritas bisnis global dan bagaimana cara untuk mengatasi berbagai tantangannya. Nah, di antaranya ini ada berbagai CEO juga chairman yang sudah hadir dalam B20 Summit Indonesia ini. Dan selain perhelatan akbar atau acara puncak dari pertemuan forum B20 ini, teman kumparan, telah digelar pula lebih dari 130 side event yang diorganisir oleh mitra B20 Indonesia dan dihadiri oleh lebih dari 8.000 peserta. Mungkin masih ada teman kumparan yang bingung gitu ya, sebenarnya apa perbedaan dari B20 dan juga G20 dan apa saja sebenarnya agenda yang dibahas, hal penting apa yang harus kita ketahui seputar B20 dan juga G20 ini. Yang pasti teman kumparan, B20 Indonesia Summit 2022 ini atau konferensi tingkat tinggi B20 Indonesia yang digelar di Bali pada tanggal 13 sampai 14 November besok ini merupakan lengan bisnis G20, di mana B20 ini merupakan forum dialog resmi G20 bagi komunitas bisnis global. Nah, Kamar Dagang dan Industri Indonesia atau Kadin Indonesia ini dipercaya menjadi penyelenggara B20 atau B20 Summit oleh pemerintah Indonesia selaku tuan rumah KTT G20. Untuk acara puncak G20 sendiri juga akan berlangsung selama 2 hari pada tanggal 15 sampai 16 November 2022 di Nusa Dua Bali. Dan ini merupakan situasi terkini di main hall event B20 Summit. Di mana kita akan mendengar atau menyimak pernyataan dan sambutan dari Ketua Kadin Indonesia Rashid yang akan segera memberikan sambutannya.
Indonesia, Mr. Arshad Rashid.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan, dan salam sehat untuk semua. Honorable guests and your excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Indonesian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, allow me to welcome you to the 2022 B20 Summit Indonesia. I am thrilled to see so many of you joining us today, both in person and virtually, from all over the world, especially after 3 years of the COVID-19 pandemic. It is the first time that Indonesia has hosted the B20, and as such, we are deeply honored by your presence and participation. As you know, the B20 was first convened in 2010 as a channel through which to voice the aspiration of the global business community. At the same time, the world was a brighter and more optimistic place. Today, the mood has darkened. This year's B20 Summit takes place amidst intensified geopolitical turmoil, as well as concerns that globalization has failed to affect equitable gains. Not to mention the undeniable challenge of climate change, which is perhaps the most pressing of all. Hence, the focus of this year's B20 Indonesia prioritized, as already elaborated my good friend Ibu Shinta just now, namely advancing innovative, inclusive, and collaborative growth. These three priorities have spatial resonance for Indonesia. As a country of great diversity and sharp contrasts, our history has taught us that if we do not work together, we will fall apart. Today, we are challenged to act together. We must collectively come together to support this fragile economic recovery and ensure peace and prosperity for all going forward. We must dare to step out of the old ways of doing things and innovate, not only in terms of technology, but also in the way we work together, in our mindset and our policies, for we face new challenges and must create new solutions accordingly. Solutions that yield not growth alone, but inclusive growth. The past decades of globalization have driven productivity gains and yielded incredible prosperity for certain segments. But there is no denying that not all segments of society have benefited equally. Grievances are flaring around the world, and those on the short end of the stick are losing hope and giving way to despair. We must address such structural inequities now if the youth of today are to inherit a brighter tomorrow. And there is no question that we must fashion innovative solutions to accelerate inclusive growth in a manner that is environmentally sustainable and collaborative across value chains. The effects of climate change are being felt around the world, from rising sea level to ravaging drought, often hurting those who have the fewest resources to mitigate the effects. In the face of such enormous challenges, we must act. We are called upon to use what influence and impact we individually have, so we can collectively achieve the aim of inclusive and sustainable growth. As a basic framework, I propose this great work should be guided by the desire to safeguard and advance what we call 5 Ps. Peace, prosperity, people, planet, and partnership. Peace is a prerequisite to any stability. Without peace, any other efforts are futile. Governments worldwide must act to ensure peace as the basis for all other efforts. Prosperity, by doing our best to ensure that all individuals can access sufficient resources for a decent standard of living. People, by giving all individuals a chance to live a dignified life and contribute in accordance with their abilities. Planet, it goes without saying that our health and well-being, our very existence is intimately tied to the preservation of our planet. And finally, partnership. As a way to accelerate inclusive growth through collaboration so that we can achieve all this peace without leaving anyone behind. Together, the list of 5 P's may seem daunting, yet I truly believe that our collective action can make a difference. Throughout the year, I have seen the various B20 working groups come together on vastly different topics, bridging differences to come up with innovative and outcome-oriented proposals as to how we can move forward together. The tone has been wonderfully collaborative overall, a note of hope in an increasingly divided world that collectively action is still possible. It speaks to deeply held Indonesian values of inclusivity and collaboration, which in my view has been the key to our country's stability and progress. From the rainforest to metaphors, Indonesia faces the challenge of merging age-old tradition with modernity for inclusive and collaborative growth. And let me say, we are an incredible, diverse country. We have 5 major faiths, more than 700 languages, 1,300 tribal groups, and 17,000 islands. If you have the time after the B20 Summit, please stay and explore our country. In the meantime, I hope that the B20 Summit experience will give you a glimpse of Indonesian values in action. For those of you here in person, I would like to invite those of you here to explore the mezzanine floor of this building, where we have laid out Indonesian values through the lens of the B20 theme, namely innovation, inclusivity, and collaboration. Innovation, as represented by the Web3 Kadin verse on display. Inclusive in the form of the diverse traditional foods in the Kadin Lounge. And of course, all these made possible through the gotong royong or mutual inclusive collaboration of sponsors and partners that has made the B20 Summit 2022 possible, and by your participation. Once again, we are deeply honored by your support. Over the next 2 days, I hope that all of you here will have a chance to engage in stimulating conversation, panels, thought leadership, and more on how we can achieve these 5 P's. Your presence here alone speaks to the possibility that we may do more together. With that, let the B20 Summit Indonesia 2022 begin. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Baik teman kumparan, itu tadi adalah pernyataan atau sambutan dari Ketua Kadin Indonesia yaitu Bapak Arsyad Rashid, di mana Ketua Kadin Arsyad Rashid tadi memberikan beberapa poin begitu ya dalam sambutannya, di mana memaparkan bahwa fokus B20 hari ini tentunya diprioritaskan untuk memajukan pertumbuhan inovatif dan inklusif di ekonomi, di mana tadi juga dipaparkan dan diajak gitu ya, ada encouragement kepada para peserta untuk bisa bekerja sama untuk memulihkan perekonomian dunia menjadi lebih perkasa lagi, dan sesuai dengan tema kita juga recover together, recover stronger gitu ya, yang juga menjadi tema untuk G20. Tadi juga dalam sambutannya Ketua Kadin Indonesia Arsyad Rashid mengajak atau memaparkan bahwa usaha memajukan perekonomian dunia ini diharapkan bisa selaras dengan bagaimana kita menghadapi dampak dari climate change, di mana memang ada beberapa poin yang menjadi poin penting dalam pertemuan baik B20 maupun G20 soal selain ekonomi global, ada juga isu climate change yang dibahas juga dalam pertemuan atau konferensi tingkat tinggi ini. Dan tadi juga dalam sambutannya Arsyad Rashid selaku Ketua Kadin Indonesia juga berharap agar kolaborasi antar sektor begitu ya ini semakin digalakan kembali, sebab kolaborasi menjadi kunci untuk memulihkan situasi dari pandemi ini. Nah, ini juga yang dibahas dalam G20, bagaimana menghadapi pandemi, kemudian ekonomi global dan juga dampak dari climate change. Dan untuk mengetahui sebenarnya bagaimana sejarah dari G20 yang nantinya acara puncaknya itu akan berlangsung pada tanggal 15 sampai 16 November 2022, teman kumparan bisa menyaksikan informasinya dalam VT berikut ini. Kita tonton bersama.
Distinguished delegates, welcome to Indonesia, and I'm so delighted to host this G20 Foreign Ministers meeting in Bali, the island of God.
Belakangan, pemerintah disibukkan dengan rangkaian konferensi tingkat tinggi G20 yang berpuncak pada 15 sampai 16 November 2022 di Bali. Sebenarnya, apa sih G20 yang sering diobrolin sama pemerintah ini? Memangnya G20 penting bagi masyarakat banyak? Mari kita coba lihat fakta-fakta seputar G20. G20 atau Group of 20 adalah forum kerjasama antara 19 negara dan Uni Eropa untuk membicarakan masalah-masalah yang sedang terjadi di dunia. G20 dibentuk sejak tahun 1999 atas inisiatif anggota G7 untuk merangkul negara lain agar dapat bersama-sama mengatasi krisis global. Keanggotaan G20 kini beragam, mulai dari Amerika Serikat, Tiongkok, Afrika Selatan, sampai Indonesia. G20 tidak memiliki ketua ataupun kantor tetap. Oleh karena itu, koordinasi G20 dipegang oleh 3 negara sekaligus. Saat ini, koordinasi dipegang Italia yang mengadakan KTT tahun lalu, Indonesia yang mengadakan tahun ini, dan India yang mendapat giliran untuk tahun depan. Indonesia sendiri resmi jadi presidensi G20 setelah KTT G20 di Italia berakhir tahun lalu. Dengan rumit dan panjangnya prosesi yang berlangsung, seberapa penting rangkaian acara G20? Ternyata cukup penting, karena pemimpin negara yang hadir mewakili mayoritas penduduk dunia dan sebagian besar perdagangan maupun PDB dunia. Forum G20 mencakup 60% populasi dunia, 75% perdagangan global, dan 80% PDB dunia masuk dalam negara-negara anggota G20. Jadi, masalah-masalah yang berkaitan dengan mayoritas penduduk dunia akan dibahas dan dicoba penyelesaiannya di forum penting ini.
Baik, itu tadi teman kumparan penjelasan seputar G20, dan B20 ini merupakan lengan bisnis dari G20, di mana B20 ini merupakan forum dialog resmi G20 bagi komunitas bisnis global. Jadi itu perbedaannya mungkin antara B20 dan G20. Yang pasti ini merupakan lengan bisnis dari G20 ya, di mana B20 Summit Indonesia ini juga menjadi event yang penting khususnya untuk komunitas bisnis global yang dihadiri juga oleh delegasi-delegasi mancanegara ya, bukan hanya dari Indonesia saja. Dan Kamar Dagang dan Industri Indonesia atau Kadin Indonesia ini dipercaya menjadi penyelenggara B20 Summit oleh pemerintah Indonesia selaku tuan rumah KTT G20. Nah, nantinya sekali lagi acara puncak KTT G20 ini akan dilaksanakan masih di area Nusa Dua Bali pada tanggal 15 dan 16 November 2022. Oke, saat ini saya akan kembali lagi ke jurnalis kumparan yang ada di venue atau di main hall B20 Summit Indonesia. Ada Alia di sana. Baik, saat ini Alia berada di area lobby venue ya, Alia ya, dimana memang kita lihat di belakang Alia ini ada tentunya para peserta yang hadir memenuhi main hall atau venue yang ada di sana. Boleh diceritakan sedikit Alia bagaimana pengamanan yang dilakukan sejak pagi hingga ketika saat ini acara atau eventnya berlangsung?
Saya sedang berada di Bali, sebuah jadi di tempat ini ada nanti delegasi-delegasi B20 yang akan mereka ruangan meeting untuk membahas setiap panel diskusi.
Baik. Oke. Baik.
Ya bagi saya di dalam sendiri keamanannya memakai baju batik dan lain-lain sangat-sangat ketat terhadap prokes dan juga ketika masuk saja.
Oke. Baik Alia, sepertinya audionya kurang terdengar dengan clear, dengan jelas, tapi sangat dimengerti karena situasi dan kondisi di sana yang ramai sekali. Tapi terima kasih banyak. We will get back to you later, Alia. Kami akan kembali lagi dengan laporan dari Alia. Yang pasti teman kumparan, acara B20 Summit Indonesia ini sudah dimulai dan saat ini saya berada di Media Center, di mana di Media Center ini para awak media atau jurnalis baik dari Indonesia maupun dari luar Indonesia ini hadir di sini untuk bisa mendapatkan akses media pool disediakan berbagai komputer dan fasilitas teknis begitu ya untuk menunjang pemberitaan ataupun kegiatan dari para awak media atau jurnalis yang ada di sini. Dan rekan-rekan saya lainnya ini tersebar di beberapa titik yang ada seperti tadi ada Alia, kemudian ada Nica dan juga Ave yang ada di titik-titik lain yang masih ada di Nusa Dua Bali ini. Kita akan kembali melihat, nah di sebelah kanan layar teman kumparan semuanya ini merupakan situasi terkini di main hall B20 Summit yang ada di Nusa Dua Bali dan saat ini sedang berlangsung panel teman kumparan. Seperti yang kita tahu dalam B20 Summit Indonesia ini ada agenda-agenda yang dilakukan, salah satunya adalah panel atau diskusi untuk membahas tema-tema terkait dan langsung saja kita akan mengetahui apa saja yang saat ini sedang dibahas dalam panel. Ini dia, kita simak bersama.
To be achieved in the period of net zero emission target. And of course, in order to achieve this target, we cannot work alone. We need the participation of the business community to participate with that. Technology is playing a big role. Recently, only 50% of the technology which is available to be used. But we need furthermore. To carry the transition, it needs huge amount of budget, 131 trillion, according to the IRENA. So this kind of amount have to be collected together among the financial resources, financial institutions, and then has to be distributed to all those countries which are not the developed countries, but also the developing countries and less developed countries. So this is a must that we have to work together, yeah, in order to achieve these things. The aligning is there, program is clear, but the availability of resources is mandatory required.
So we do have a strong position as a country.
Well, as Indonesia itself, we are blessed. We are lucky. We are blessed with many kind of energy resources. We plan to build our electricity capacity 500 gigawatt in the year 2060. We have a potential of a couple thousand of renewable potential. What we need is the availability of technology, the industry which support this kind of technology, and the financial availability. And we also have some other materials, minerals, for instance, that we can, which can support the transition process itself. We can share, of course, but this time we are asking the collaboration between the business sectors, how we process together these minerals, and help also our country to create more jobs, make value on it, and then we share this product for global market.
Very well. I'll come back to you again, Minister. But let's go to Chairman Siregar. The B20 Indonesia has voiced out the importance of improving the access to affordable and suitable sources of financing. We're talking about a net zero world. I would like to have your insights regarding this issue. Is it still possible, is it feasible to achieve this?
Thank you, Andini. First of all, let me say this. While in the past, of course, the governments, the leaders, including the G20, provide guidance, leadership, and commitments in addressing the global problems. But now I think it's clear the big elephant in the room is geopolitical tension. So as much as we would expect or hope or wish business as usual, that leaders of governments produce solutions, commitments, and guidance, leadership for global problems, but I think it would become more and more difficult. So it would be the business communities now that have bigger role, bigger opportunity, but bigger responsibility to overcome this situation with your network, with your coverage that possibly, if not the same, even more than your respective governments. So please understand, we are in this new reality of a global system. Now, with regard to the sustainable finance, there is another new reality. What we expected in the past, that the big fund, financial resources that should come from the developed nations to the developing nations, obviously with the global slowdown and financial challenges that faced by the developed nations this year and years ahead, we would not expect that also to be materialized. So this is the new reality. While the financial resources that should cover the need of the world, especially developing nations and emerging economies, to address the issues of climate, the issues of poverty, inequality, that expected to come from the north to these countries is now very much won't be the case. With that in mind, so what should be done by the developing nations? The developing nations have to align its global climate commitment in the form of the NDC, National Determined Commitments, to be part of their national sustainable development goals and national interests. If this takes place, so despite the financial resources difficulty coming from the developed nations, the developing countries still will be able to achieve the targets because it is very much in line with its own national interests. With regard to Indonesia, I can share with you that we have already undertaken all the steps that were provided and decided by the finance track of the G20, including we are now in the process of exiting from the pandemic climate era to be part of the post-pandemic position, but at the same time, we have to deal with the scarring effect of the sectors, of the industries, of the geographical areas that still very much affected by the pandemic. So that is number one. The second one, we have improved a lot our financial literacy and financial inclusion from what we were 2-3 years ago. So we hope we would continue this progress forward in such a way that it would become the solution for us according as the priority of the finance track. And the third, we are going to maximize the digital transformation that are now available, including Indonesia, to be part in solving the development and sustainable development problem of itself. So I think we are going to undertake steps, policies, and instruments that would require for Indonesia to be very much solving its own problem, but at the same time could become the lesson learned for other developing nations how to deal with its problems despite the global challenges and geopolitical situation that I mentioned in the beginning. Thank you, Nadine.
I think it's interesting to talk more about the new realities and how business leaders and communities can play a bigger role, because since they're on the grassroots, the operational side of it. But let's welcome to our two other speakers who are already here with us. Minister of Health of the Republic of Indonesia, Bapak Budi Gunadi Sadikin. Pak Budi, please join us. And then also Minister of Tourism and Creative Economy of the Republic of Indonesia, Pak Sandiaga Uno. Hai, Pak Budi. Welcome. Okay, very well. Let's get down to business. Since we're with the business communities, time is very much an asset here. So Budi, let's talk to you about the global health architecture. We see how a strong and resilient global health system and also the importance of expanding the global manufacturing and research hubs to prevent the next pandemic or other health issue that we can experience together. So what should the businesses take part to play the role, a bigger role, I guess, to
Sorry, my deepest apology. I was late because last night we stayed with Ibu Sri Mulyani until 12 a.m. You know, what do you call it? 0.00 because of the joint finance and health ministers meeting. And I'd like to share with you what our Indonesia health sector has achieved in the G20 presidency and what are the business opportunities for you. The first one, we with the Ministry of Finance, G20, achieved to establish the Global Pandemic Fund. $1.4 billion has been pledged from 24 institutions. Clear result. And this is the largest fifth ever in World Bank has ever created. So hopefully in the next 5 years, 10 years, it will increase the size of the fund to 10 billion US dollar, which is the gap annually, 10 billion US dollar annually, which is the gap that is needed to prepare the world from the future pandemic. What are the business opportunity for you? 10 billion US dollar in health sector. So start investing in health. So the second deliverables that we achieved. We also discussing while we finish the uses of fund, we will operationalize in the next year how the uses of fund. Because different with financial crisis, IMF can jump in and give the money to the balance sheet of the country, it's done. You only need money. In health crisis, money is not enough. Indonesia have money, we don't have access to vaccine. We don't have access to therapeutics. We don't have access to diagnostic tools. So we have to translate money into emergency medical countermeasures. So that is what we have agreed, the mechanism globally. So access to this medical countermeasure will be just, will be equal. Will not only, like before, the rich country get access first. The poor country will have access at the end. So again, what are the business opportunity for you? Then business for emergency medical countermeasures, which is diagnostic, vaccine, therapeutics, or medicine, will growing very, very fast globally. So again, invest in health. The third deliverables is we understand that our enemy is not human being. Our enemy is pathogen, can be bacteria, virus, or parasite. So these pathogens need surveillance system. Like when you are being attacked by alien out of the country, globally all countries will link the radar system so they have a great surveillance if the enemy is coming from outside the earth. Now the same thing happens, we need to strengthen and link our radar system for pathogen. We call it a genome sequence lab. The lab that can identify whether the new pathogen arise in Indonesia or in Africa or in South America, but we need to link this lab of some pathogen is found somewhere else in the world. The genome sequence information can be shared quickly globally, so the best brain in the world, the best scientists in the world, can work on the diagnostic tool, on the vaccine, and on the medicine. And we agreed on that one. And what are the opportunities for you? This is an opportunity for you to move into biotechnology, because this is the biggest threat of humanity. So people, the government will politically be pushed to spend into this sector. The fourth agreement that we have achieved, we understand that during the pandemic, the problem is, or the response is, you stop the movement of people. Because when you stop the movement of people, you stop the movement of the virus. That is the very basic health minister response. When you do it, when you stop the movement of people, you stop the movement of goods. When you stop the movement of goods, you stop the movement of money. When you stop the movement of money, you create social issues. You only have health issue, you create social crisis. When you have social crisis, you have political crisis. So now we also identify these issues and we realize, hey, health ministers, when we have another pandemic, we understand that to stop the spreading of the virus, we have to limit, not stop, the movement of the people. People that carry emergency medical countermeasure, emergency goods like energy and food, they still have to move around. The pilot, the ship's crew, those are the people that need to be moved around. So let's have a digital health certificate acknowledged by WHO. If you have been vaccinated or tested properly, then you can move around. So for the next pandemic, instead of stopping the movement of the people 100%, which clock the economy globally, you can still provide some movement of the people. Indonesia has achieved, G20 country has agreed to have this digital certificate using WHO standard, and we will submit into the next World Health Assembly in Geneva as the revision to international health regulation. So hopefully for the next pandemic, we can still see some movement of the people, some movement of the goods, and movement of the economy. The number 5, the last thing that we have achieved in the health minister meeting of G20, we have agreed, especially in the southern G20 countries. The south of Africa is South Africa. The south in Asia is Turkey, Saudi Arabia, India, and Indonesia. In South of America is Brazil and Argentina. 7 countries in G20 has agreed. We need to redistribute the capability of research and development and manufacturing for vaccine, therapeutics, and diagnostic tools. Because it is scientifically wrong and ethically wrong, only to concentrate the treatment on a certain region. Because you cannot, stop the spread of the virus only in one country, because the virus spread all over the world. So it's scientifically wrong. If you believe, I will vaccinate my country only and I will be safe. Unless you can limit the movement of 8 billion people in the world, then you can do it. But it's impossible, right? And it is, more importantly, is ethically also wrong. So, ladies and gentlemen, huge opportunity in health. I will close it with my statement. Indonesia GDP cost per capita, health spending per capita is only $112. And our average life is 72 years. Malaysia is 432 with average life 76. US, average life 80 with $10,000 per capita. So let's see, Indonesian people population are aging. In the next 5 years, we become like Malaysia, 72 to 76, with the same healthcare system efficiency, which is we are not. Then our health cost per capita will increase from 112 to 430, $300 per capita. You multiply by 270 million people, that is an 81 billion opportunity upside. If we go to the US level, 11,000 or 10,000, you name it, 10,000 times 270 million, it will be 2,700 billion US dollar opportunity. So you pick your country when you do the future investment. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a follow-up. Minister Sadikin, just a follow-up on your last statement. So you mentioned that the enemy now is not human anymore, but is a virus, but also the enemy of investors and business communities is uncertainty. How can we ensure them, again, to pick the right country to invest, especially there's an opportunity in the health industry, that the government will make sure, will guarantee that their investment is secure?
I'm a banker for 30 years. I'm only health minister for 1 year and 9 months. So, but I can share with you. I do understand when you try to direct investment or procurement that you can be sued in WTO. But I can assure you that if it is a government procurement, that you are safe. So for Indonesia, Pak Jokowi is very, very clear that for every government procurement, we will buy from the company that produce in the country, because under WTO rule is safe. And by the way, I don't know whether some of you coming from defense industry, but I can share with you, you're asking, what is the biggest enemy of human being? The biggest killer of natural disasters, if my memory is correct, is a flood, Yangtze River flood in 1930s, killing 4 million people. The biggest war, so fighting between human and human, is World War II and killed 50 million people. The biggest accident or war or disaster that killed most people historically is pandemic. Black Death in 1300 killed around 150 to 200 million people. So if you believe, businessmen, that you have to invest. You can spend trillions of US dollars in defense industry, assuming that the biggest enemy of humanity is human. Then you are wrong. Historically, human death, the most coming from pathogen. So if I say this, I believe that all reasonable businessmen will start investing on health sector, because they kill most of the people. It's very close to my heart. So then start investing. I know that you still have to invest in tourism and energy, but prioritize health. And by the way, I'm a banker. I'm managing wealth. Now I'm managing health. I can assure you, the best wealth is health. So consider to change your profession. Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to Minister Uno. So, Pak Sandi, we always want to have an inclusive, empowering, and sustainable digital ecosystem. But how to ensure this digital-ready mindset for individuals? And also, you deal a lot with micro, small, medium enterprises, which is the backbone of our economy. So how can we ensure that they all involved in this?
Thank you, Chairman Arshad, for inviting me, and welcome to the wonderful Indonesia, the island of paradise of Bali, for participants of B20 from all around the world. I have been an investor for 25 years and also become a minister exactly a year and 10 months. So my mindset, my DNA is entrepreneur. So when you look at digitalizations within the tourism and creative economy, by the way, tourism and creative economy is a business of happiness. So when you have a pandemic, it's basically where the hardest hit of all sectors. We're seeing a catastrophic downturn never seen before in the tourism industry. We were down 80% in 2020 and even further down 75% in 2021. But thanks to all the hard works of Indonesians and the leadership of President Jokowi, we're able to recover, and this year, through digitalizations, through the support of micro, small, medium enterprises, we're able to add, we're on track to add 1.1 million new jobs and better quality jobs compared to the pre-pandemic numbers. And although we're not seeing yet the number of investments in this sector, I'm quite confident that within the next 3 to 5 years, we're able to attract between $6 to $8 billion of investments in the tourism and creative economy sectors. And if you guys don't invest, I will invest myself. Seriously, I think it's so big, the opportunity, and the impact to communities is huge in terms of tourism and creative economy is hitting on all 17 sustainable development goals. You name it. Every sector is from culinary, crafts, fashions, to hotel, restaurant, and cafe. It's been the backbone. When you were in Bali 2 years ago, it's like a ghost town. But now you come to Bali, you are almost fully digitalized here in Nusa Dua. When you walk into any hotel, now it's standard procedures, you have to log in to Peduli Lindungi. Except the Minister of Health passed me, he did not check in because he was in a rush. I was waiting and I want to show to him that I'm cleared, but he's rushing to be here. But anyway, that's besides the point. So that's digitalizations. Another digitalization is crowd control. Now, thanks to technology and digital, we can identify destinations that are ready with the certifications of cleanliness, health, safety, and environmental sustainability. We're very, very serious on this standard, and we're struggling because we're not yet over the pandemic. During these transitions, after 2 years, we're in hibernations. Concerts is almost sold out within less than 1 hour. And some events organizers are tempted to sell beyond capacity that is being sanctioned by the government. So with technology, you now can see which concert is better managed so that you will not have, knock on wood, situations like we see where concerts is overflown and overcapacity that is risking everybody's life. And the same with digitalizations with regards of reservations. In the past, tourism and creative economy workforce focus on reservations, but now with technology and digital, it's now shifted to become product reviewer, to become influencer, YouTuber, and a lot of new jobs are being created. So I guess we are not only recover together and recover stronger. I think with digitalizations, with green economy, with better global health architecture, we're gonna recover better.
Okay, let's talk about the new realities that Chairman Siregar mentioned earlier, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. This is an open question, and new speakers can answer. So we are facing the new realities now, which we have a global economic slowdown, and then we're still in the midst of the pandemic, even though it's getting better, and we see the roles of the developed nations as they're having their own issues. We need to step up our game as emerging markets. So since we're talking with the business communities here, what are the creative ways they can contribute, and what do they need to know regarding these new realities and to be able to gotong royong, to be able to cooperate together with the governments of the G20 nations? Please, Chairman.
Yes, I think what we have heard just now is very clear. While in the past we talk about think locally, act globally. But this time, bring global solutions to solve local problems. We have the capacity and ability to identify what are the problems of the local situations and then identify and bring in the global solutions. Now, the challenge is, of course, how to facilitate, regulate, and provide policies that make things happen. These are what we have achieved in the G20. But of course, we have to translate it into real day-to-day operation. With regard to the financial services, this is the challenge to a certain extent. How could we provide regulatory environment, supervisory process with regard to the cross-border transactions that would allow the possibilities of the solutions coming in. But this is where the digital transformation, the issues of international support would come in. So I think this is more how we capitalize the presence of the solutions and, of course, the network of the global business in solving the local problems. So do not just rely on global governance commitments, which I said in the beginning, would become even more difficult in the coming years because of the geopolitical tension. But focus on the solutions, identify the, focus on the problems, identify the solutions, bring in them to the countries, and let us facilitate it. And this is where Indonesia is going to be one of the model in making this happen. The health sector already doing it, the digital creative economy already doing it. Now the financial services will facilitate that as well. And I think we will come to a lesson learned context of Indonesia that can certainly bring others some examples. Thank you.
Minister Tasrif?
Well, In order to accelerate the transition process, of course, government, we have to prepare such kind of a good policy in order to attract more investment to Indonesia. I'm fully agree with my colleague Pak Budi mentioned that health is very important. But I may say that no health if there is no energy. No tourists if there is no electricity. So, I would like to convey also the message that in order to accelerate the energy mix in our system within this 10 years, we plan to build 22 gigawatt of renewable in our system, and then estimately it will cost $50 billion. So this is a new opportunity for the business community to come. And besides of that, also for the long term, we need to build our transmission. Indonesia is the biggest archipelagic country in the world. We have to connect it with the energy. We have the energy itself. Yeah, we have to utilize our own source, and then we have to cooperate with you, all the business people.
Very well, Pak Budi.
I see we just passed the crisis, and hopefully the global crisis will end very, very soon. But talking about crisis, I just noticed I saw my mentor, my teacher, Pak Agus Martowardoyo, sitting there. He is ex-CEO Bank Mandiri. When I was there during the biggest financial crisis in the country. And I can tell you, during that financial crisis, which is a big crisis like current crisis now, I met with a Western banker, and he said to me, Budi, you have nothing left on your right side of the balance sheet, and you have nothing right on your left side of the balance sheet. And it took me 30 seconds to really understand what does it mean, even as a banker. But then I talked to another Asian banker. He said, oh, Budi, yes, understand, this is a financial crisis, a big financial crisis for Indonesia. But remember, the word crisis in Chinese, my apology if my pronunciation is not as good as the native Chinese like Pak Frankie, but crisis in Chinese is Wei Qi. Two Chinese character, Wei and Qi. The first character Wei can be paired with another Chinese character, Wei Xian, which means danger. So every crisis has a danger component. But the second Chinese character, Qi, can be paired with another Chinese character, Qi Hui, that means opportunity. So, when you have a crisis, most of the regulators like me see from a dangerous angle. But I believe most businessmen like you should see this as an opportunity. So this is the time to invest. Invest in energy, invest in tourism, invest in my friend's business from Phoenix in mining, because I saw them also sitting there, Kathleen and Richard. But you have to allocate your portfolio properly. Invest most of the money in health sector. Thank you.
Minister Uno.
I'm so captivated by health minister. I want to invest in health sector also. Anyway, Indonesia's ranking in the World Economic Forum in the tourism development have jumped 12 positions, and that has never been done in the past. So that was done during the last 18 months of the pandemic. We went into a whole series of analysis why we moved up past Malaysia, Thailand, and Vietnam. Hopefully those countries are not present here. And actually, the reason have been on two fronts. First, President Jokowi's prioritizations on 5 super priority destinations. And second, on inclusivity, meaning that tourism have been enable the sectors to include micro, small, medium enterprises, and we have 64 million micro, small, medium enterprises, contributing to about 97% of the jobs. And also, we have been the sectors that includes women and also young generations in all of the sectors, millennials and Gen Zs. So when we saw that, I quickly made a couple of changes, very strategic changes. Now in my ministry, it's the ministry with the most women in the leadership positions, having 4 deputies out of 7 deputies. Where are the women? I'm not here. Mana suaranya nih perempuan nih? See all the women. Why are all you sitting in the back? You should be up front, like in the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy. Second, to women and youth, we've been able also to focus on linking the creative economy. And now Indonesia is 3rd in terms of contributions to GDP. The creative economy contributes close to 7.5% to GDP, making us only 3rd after the US with Hollywood, country music, Korea with K-pop and Korean dramas. And now Indonesia is number 3 in the world in terms of contributions to GDP, because we have when Korea have Korean dramas, they have drakor, we have drahor, drama horror. We are so good in making horror movies. Indonesians' ghosts are very scary. Try tonight in some of the destinations that offer this type of tourist experience. Second, we have also, when Korea have K-pop, we have D-pop. And D-pop stands for Dangdut Koplo. This is the only music that makes Bapak Presiden, Pak Jokowi, can move a little bit during the National Independence Day celebration. So I believe inclusivity and bringing more of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, all the 3 pillars of the G20, which is the digitalizations, on health issues as well as sustainability. I want to close with sustainability, Mbak Andini Effendi, if I allow. We are responsible of 8% of global emissions, tourism and in particular the tourism sector. Why? It's because the travels. You guys travel from New York, from Phoenix. You know, it's contributing a lot, and that's 50% of the 8% that we contribute to global emissions. So we are hoping with digitalizations. Now we are offering with carbon footprint calculator. I've already calculated when you travel from New York, you have, if you travel business, you have to plant 64 mangrove trees. 64 mangrove trees. And you can do that in the Indonesia.travel website or our partner Gojek Tokopedia with jejak.in. And you could do it yourself here, not too far, there's a mangrove forest, or you could contribute. That way, you are actually doing offsetting of your carbon. Second, food. Food loss and food waste is contributing close to twice the weight of your body. On a per year basis, I weigh 70 kilograms, I would waste 140 kilograms of food. And that's contributing to the other 4%. So we are the first country in Southeast Asia to commit to reduce the industry carbon footprint by 4%, so 50% reductions by 2035, and hopefully by 2045, our sectors will be completely net zero, with all your help. And please support that here in Nusa Dua, after G20, we're going to be all going to be transported, thanks to Pa Arifin's support also, and other stakeholders. It's going to be all electric vehicle here in Nusa Dua, and by 2030, the whole of Bali, we want to be focused, and other tourist destinations will be all electric vehicle.
Thank you, Minister Uno. So as I mentioned earlier, that this session will be setting the stage for the whole summit. I would like to have just one final statement from each speaker, since we're with the business community and we need for a global solution, we need a global consensus as well. And business leaders play a key role for this solution to happen. So from Minister Tasrif, let's begin with you. Just only one statement that you can share with the business communities here. How can they play a bigger role to enhance the cooperation, just to make the vision visualize?
Let's build the collaboration among us and keep communicate, so we know what we are going to achieve and then what kind of opportunity that we can share together.
Minister Sadikin.
You are all businessmen. My advice to you, invest in health. No, really. Spend your money in health. Because if human beings are healthy, 8 billion of them are healthy, they will live longer. When they live longer, they will spend more. If they spend more, then your business will flourish. And by the way, it's not only about money. If you invest more in health, you spend more in health. You do good is not only for your company, it's not only for you, but also for our children. And the children of our children. This is a tribute to humanity. Thank you.
Chairman Siregar.
The most sustainable project from business perspective have to be commercially feasible, obviously. So what you have heard now is certainly, while you talk, you aim, you focus on identifying the sustainable development and climate solutions globally, but at the same time, you also have to think how that would be commercially feasible. So this panel now provides you with opportunities. In Indonesia, sustainable development also means commercially feasible because of what we have been doing and what we have been preparing. So be yourself and invest in Indonesia.
Minister Uno.
Invest in healthcare in Indonesia, and not because I'm your neighbor, but yeah, health is everything, and tourism actually now able to recover because our policies on handling the pandemic has been good. So visit wonderful Indonesia. It's time for Bali, and I really, really hope you don't go right after the 16th, but spend another week to look at our wonderful country, in particular not just Bali, and the 5 super priority destinations of Lake Toba, Borobudur, Labuan Bajo, Mandalika, and Likupang. And see you at the destinations.
Minister, Chairperson, thank you very much for your time. Thank you. I hope you have an insightful discussion. And then I'll give the floor back to Rory. Go ahead.
Anini, thank you so much for the discussion. It was so lively, and we saw, staunch rivalry between different sectors on the stage, but that's for the betterment and for the goodness of us all. And that was the aligning the role of business with G20 priorities to recover together and recover stronger. We do have several points to highlight though. First, from Mr. Arifin Tasrif, the Minister of Energy and Mineral Resources, that no health, no tourism if there's no energy. And we have to utilize our own energy resources because it is abundant in Indonesia, and collaborate with you, the business community or international business community. And from Chairman Siregar, the chairman of the Board of Commissioner of the Financial Services Authority, he said that the most sustainable project has to be financially feasible. So focus on identifying sustainable solution, but at the same time, be financially
Baik, teman kumparan, itu tadi ada panel discussion atau panel diskusi dengan narasumber, ada Menteri SDM Arifin Tasrif, kemudian Ketua Dewan Komisioner OJK Mahendra Siregar, dan Menteri Kesehatan Republik Indonesia Budi Gunadi Sadikin, dan juga Sandiaga Uno selaku Menteri Pariwisata dan Ekonomi Kreatif yang membahas tentang bagaimana penyelarasan bisnis dengan prioritas-prioritas G20, di mana dalam tema G20 ini kita menggalakkan tema Recover Stronger, Recover Together, dan bagaimana peran dari bisnis global ini mampu membuat recovery dari pandemi ini semakin baik lagi untuk negara-negara anggota, dan tentunya dampaknya menyeluruh untuk seluruh dunia. Baik, dalam closing statementnya tadi kalau bisa kita rangkum sedikit ya, kita sambil menunggu panel atau diskusi selanjutnya. Tadi Menteri SDM Arifin Tasrif ini mengajak untuk mengembangkan kolaborasi antar berbagai pihak terkait agar tujuan serta usaha yang dilakukan ini bisa maksimal kaitannya dengan recovery dari negara-negara yang ada di dunia, bagaimana bersama-sama bisa keluar jadi lebih kuat lagi untuk bisa keluar dari pandemi ini. Kemudian Ketua Dewan Komisioner OJK Mahendra Siregar juga tadi dalam final statementnya ini mengatakan bahwa investasi berkelanjutan adalah investasi yang secara komersil ini bisa menguntungkan baik dalam segi lingkungan, ekonomi maupun kesehatan. Dan Menteri Kesehatan Republik Indonesia Budi Gunadi Sadikin juga dalam closing statementnya atau final statementnya ini mengajak untuk para pebisnis agar bisa berinvestasi di industri kesehatan agar masyarakat ini bisa mendapatkan efeknya atau dampak positif dari investasi industri kesehatan yang ada, dan dengan begitu ini bisa membantu ekonomi dan bisnis akan berputar lebih baik lagi. Sekali lagi, fokus dari pertemuan G20 maupun B20 ini juga tentunya tidak terlepas dari isu ekonomi global, isu pandemi COVID-19, dan juga isu climate change yang dibahas dalam panel-panel diskusi yang ada. Tadi Menteri Pariwisata dan Ekonomi Kreatif Republik Indonesia Sandiaga Uno juga menyampaikan atau mengajak para delegasi yang hadir yang sudah ada di Nusa Dua Bali ini untuk bisa menghabiskan waktu dalam 1 minggu ini. Mungkin nanti setelah acara puncak diadakan ini bisa menghabiskan waktu di Indonesia, khususnya di Bali, untuk pergi mengunjungi pariwisata-pariwisata yang ada. Dengan begitu ini juga bisa membantu untuk pariwisata kita bisa lebih berkembang dan lebih bangkit kembali. Baik, sebelum kita akan kembali ke venue utama B20 Summit Indonesia, saya akan sapa terlebih dahulu rekan jurnalis Alia Bunga yang ada di venue, di sekitar venue B20 Summit. Halo Alia.
Halo Galisa, saya lagi menenangkan diri nih dari keramaian B20 hari ini, hari pertama di Bali Nusa Dua Convention Center. Hari ini selain dari Menteri Dalam Negeri ya, ada juga kehadiran delegasi-delegasi dari negara yang berpartisipasi. Nah, diramaikan juga dari 40 negara dalam acara B20 ini. Jadi situasinya benar-benar, antusiasnya benar-benar sangat besar. Nah, di antara hasil di pertemuan B20 yang tanggal 12 November kemarin sebelum acara puncaknya di hari ini, dari Kamar Dagang dan Industri Indonesia atau Kadin selaku penyelenggara B20 tahun ini, selaku Indonesia juga sebagai tuan rumahnya, juga berhasil menjajaki peluang investasi dengan 18 perusahaan dari 11 negara dan total 75 triliun rupiah. Nah, di sini tadi berkaitan dengan negara-negara asing juga yang berpartisipasi, yaitu ada Amerika Serikat, ada Kanada, ada Belgia, Jerman, Belanda, China, Singapura, Turki, Korea Selatan, Jepang, Australia, India, serta Prancis. Jadi ini artinya masing-masing dari negara-negara tersebut akan mengirimkan delegasinya juga nih untuk meramaikan KTT G20 besok lusa berarti ya. juga. Dari Kanada itu udah ada Perdana Menteri Justin Trudeau yang rencananya hari ini atau besok akan juga hadir di salah satu panel diskusi. Ada Ratu Maxima dari Belanda, Perdana Menteri Australia Anthony Albanese, hingga Presiden Korea Selatan yang baru Yoon Suk Yeol. Terkait soal Elon Musk nih, Melissa, saya mendapatkan informasi terbaru bahwa sudah memang terkonfirmasi Elon Musk berhalalan untuk hadir di acara B20 hari ini. Dan untuk pembicaraan Hathaway juga rencananya dia akan menampilkan video recording untuk membicarakan tentang transformasi bisnis digital, begitu Melissa.
Oke, baik. Terima kasih Alia untuk laporannya. Dan teman kumparan, saat ini mungkin kita akan kembali lagi ke venue utama atau ke main hall, di mana ada panel diskusi selanjutnya ini yang berlangsung. Langsung saja kita tampilkan. Ini dia situasinya, ada Menko Marves Luhut Binsar Panjaitan yang ada di sana bersama dengan para chairman dari beberapa perusahaan yang saat ini melakukan panel diskusi. Langsung kita simak bersama.
Good morning to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, my good friend Robin and Andrew Forrest. We are here now challenged by the people around here. Let me begin with Indonesia. Indonesia is the largest archipelagic country in the world with great potential. If you look at the slide, world's biggest nickel reserve with 72 million tons, and world's second biggest tin reserve, and also seventh biggest copper. But the very important one is the renewable energy, 37 gigawatt. And we are, I think, the fourth largest population on earth, and Indonesia consists of 17,500 islands. So you look at also, despite global turmoil, Indonesian macroeconomy, also indicators are among the best in the G20. All the data are here. You can have a look this one. Economic growth, low inflation, low government debt. This one very important because some people in this country thought that we have a lot of debt. No, we are one of the lowest debt among the member of G20 countries. Positive stock performance and stable exchange rate. You look at this one also. Some people thought Indonesia still like 10 or 8 years ago, which is not. We are different than before. Driven by strong macroeconomy performance, including stable investment performance. Look at all this data, ladies and gentlemen. This data, I think, give you a good indicator what's going on in Indonesia today. And also high export recovery, surplus of 29 consecutive months, never happened in our history. Always surplus for the last 29 months, even during COVID-19. If you look at our export, the highest ever in our history, last year it was $232 billion, and this year we believe we can achieve like $293 billion. And resilience also in external sectors. Indonesian current account used to be deficit. If you look at this data now, we are positive. So this is very important also to understand that the last 5 years, our economy growing very well. Indonesia is transforming its economy, no longer rely on raw commodities. And if you look at this slide here, before like this, 2015 we are here, only $1.5 billion, and this year we are here. So you can see the difference. And look also our export, also here, MHP battery, also look at this here, it's very, very beautiful. And we are here now, but we are soon going to here. That's why Robin is very important for CATL to be here, because he is our very good partner for this lithium battery. Hopefully by 2024 we can produce a lithium battery here with the CTL. And this is also downstream industry, our aiming for next largest petrochemical and in the world in North Kalimantan. This is like $56 billion investment, and also they're going to produce also new energy battery, 265 gigawatt hour could produce a 3 million EV, which is EV is very important also for us. We have 11 gigawatt hour hydropower potential in North Kalimantan, starting construction anytime first quarter next year. And improving efficiency through digitalization, including natural resources, this one, making the country, our Indonesia, less and less corruption and also less cost and state revenue and local industry and SME growing up. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is very important. Indonesian green industrialization strategy up to 2030, this one. If you look at this commodities, that we have a lot of commodities here, that potential, abundant of very strategic commodities. And you look at also sector transition that we have a roadmap here, Robin, so don't worry, so you can enter, because Robin is a growing company right now. I hope it's going to be $300 billion company soon, yeah. And this is also the cross-cutting technology that we are aiming, and this is also the the sustainability, and that's our target 2030. So we do hope that by 2030 our income per capita is going to be around $10,000 US. And climate crisis, this is also the issue that we are targeting this one, where we are moving very much, very fast on this one. So if any country look at Indonesia, or maybe businessmen look at Indonesia like 8 years ago, forget it. This is Indonesia, new Indonesia, I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen. Indonesia committed to net zero emission in 2060 or sooner. This is, if you look at this data, next slide please. Yeah, this one, deforestation, we are, I think we commit, our commitment, we deliver very much, and we are doing very, very well. We are also encouraging adoption of renewable energy. You look at this also, the EV. And however, Indonesia will balance our emission target with the economic development target. If you look at this one, G20 member contribute 80% carbon emission to the global. And Indonesia contribute per capita 2.3 ton per capita, while the baseline 4.5 ton per capita, while the developed country, they contribute like 14.7 million ton per capita. I keep telling to my friend from the developed country, have to be fair, yeah? If you want to reduce the carbon emission, cannot be like this. Have to be like this and then like this. So I explained this to Secretary Yellen when I met her here. I said, Secretary, we have to be fair. You have to, cannot be like this. You have to be like this. Indonesia up from 2.3 maybe to 4.5 to 5, and US from 14.7 go down to around 5, and then we can go down together. That's, I think, fairness in this life. That's all my presentation. Thank you very much. Hopefully that you can get better understanding about Indonesia. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Very eye-opening and insightful sharing. Now, let me introduce our second guest here today with us. Well, people call him Elon Musk's China battery supplier. As the founder of one of the world's biggest electric vehicle battery maker, his company, Contemporary Amperex Technology, or CATL, not only a key supplier to Elon Musk's Tesla, but also work with the other EV manufacturers such as BMW, Volkswagen, and Geely, and shares of his firm soared about 150% in the past couple of years because of the increasing EV demand worldwide. I'm honored to introduce you, Mr. Zeng Yuqun. The floor is yours.
Your Excellency, Mr. Le Foot, Dr. Angel Forrest, Mrs. Selena Dong, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is my great honor to be invited to attend today's forum. As an innovative new energy technical company, we have devoted ourselves to sustainable development from the beginning. Especially, we have been working hard to make the outstanding contributions to new energy and the sustainable development of mankind through innovation in battery technology. Over the past few centuries, everyone knows energy generated from fossil fuels have played a very important role in the society and the economic development. But it also brings us great challenge in form of resource depletion and environmental degradation. Over a decade ago, the first attempts were made to use lithium-ion battery on a large scale of energy storage, conversion, and output in order to promote the electrification of transport and the energy transition. Today, thanks to the technological innovation and the industrialization, the energy density of lithium-ion battery has tripled. That means a battery car can really have range over 1,000 kilometers. The energy density of lithium battery tripled, the cost also dropped 80%. But also we're still working on lithium nickel price. But the good thing is the service life has exceeded over 12,000 cycles. Think about that. If you charge one cycle, go 500 kilometers, 12,000 cycles, it's really lasting longer for the batteries. Lithium-ion batteries now play a very important role in the energy transition and have become a critical base energy device to support humankind's sustainable development. First of all, battery can empower energy sustainability. Renewable energy sources such as wind and solar energy are already inhospitable, but they are intermittent and volatile and cannot meet the requirement of the power grid. As a result, we have to regulate the load of the power grid through the energy storage. Economic-wise, the storage has to be cheaper, otherwise we cannot help industry. That's why which system can storage the renewable energy is very important. Still many arguments in the world, but I do believe electrochemistry energy storage has many advantages. It provides millisecond level rapid response and bidirectional regulation with minimum requirement for different geographical conditions. It can be built quickly and flexible, deployed for power generation, the power grid, and the power load of the power system. However, due to the high cost, it has struggled to be put into commercial use. But fortunately, we have pioneered whole life cycle lithium compensation technology, which has doubled or even tripled the service life of lithium-ion battery as sustainability improved, the cost effectiveness and the efficiency of electrochemical energy storage system. Replacing fossil fuels with renewable energy has gone from just being a possibility to become a reality. Second, battery can empower environmental sustainability. Gas emission from cars is one of the main sources of environmental pollution and global warming, posing a constant threat to human health. At present, a comprehensive electrification has become a conquered global goal. Our battery have been installed in more than 6 million cars worldwide. By introducing the advanced technologies in material and the structure system, such as C2P, M3P, AB, and NP battery, and achieve DPPB level defects. The extreme manufacturing also helps us. We can provide the consumer with batteries of a high energy density, longer range, and improved safety. We have also been working on research and development in such technology as sodium-ion batteries, condensed solid-state batteries, and metal-free batteries. We are constantly breaking the limits of the battery performance so as to promote the realization of comprehensive electrifications. Third, the battery can empower the social and economic sustainability. Unlike petroleum, metals in lithium-ion battery can be recovered to achieve a circular economy, which is really sustainable. At present, our recovery rate of nickel, cobalt, and manganese has reached to 99.3%, and the recovery rate of lithium is up to 90%. Also, the module battery swap solution Evergo, which we launched early this year, aimed to address the problem of limited refuel options, long refueling time, and the low space utilization rate of charging stations. With our module battery swap solution, consumer only need a few minutes to refuel, and then they can select how many batteries they need. A battery swap station can serve hundreds of vehicles a day across different brands. Swap stations also become a UPS for a city, which greatly improve the utilization of land and power resource, and resolves issues such as range anxiety, inconvenient energy refueling, and high total cost of ownership. Finally, I would like to say the sustainability development is the extreme eternal goal for humanity. Sustainable management of energy is the foundation of the sustainable development, and also the key to addressing the climate change. We believe that together we can find a way forward through innovation, synergy, and high-quality development across the industry trend, as well as cooperations between the countries of the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zhang. Very well said. Sustainable development is the eternal goal for humanity, and together we will find a way forward. Now, let me introduce our next guest. As the founder of mining giant Fortescue, he has been a key business figure for decades, but after doing almost the unthinkable, committing his heavy metal producing company to net zero by 2030, he's now gained a reputation as a tribalizing sustainability pioneers. Now let's welcome Mr. Andrew Forrest.
So Dongxi, Minister Lahut, my friend, Zhang Yuquin, thank you very much for your remarks. I'll try and be brief, but make some very strong points. When we first set out overseas, when the world shut down, COVID had stopped, all travel, borders were shut, I was able to see one minister in one great country, Pak Lahut, who welcomed me in the middle of COVID. And I was very worried for Indonesia. We were offering COVID testing machines, reagents, everything. I think Indonesia came out of it very well. And all your discipline, your masks, thank you, because you are keeping Indonesia safe. Pak Lahut, you remember we had the great fortune to meet with your president, and we went through really careful scrutiny to make sure we didn't have COVID. had a big screen in between. We spoke with masks, and then we spoke with passion. And the President came up and gave us a hug afterwards. So it was, and he said to you, sir, utilising Indonesia's surplus energy to make green hydrogen around the world is God's work. And we, sir, are still as determined as ever to do that. Indonesia still has excess energy, but now, 2 years since that time, the price of making green hydrogen then was expensive, as you recall. But now, the cost of electrolyzers, the cost of the systems, the plumbing around electrolyzers have come plummeting down, almost a fifth of what they were. So my company stands ready, Minister Luhut, to attach electrolyzers, to attach green hydrogen systems to any excess power. Let's price it so we can compete successfully with oil and gas, and let's turn Indonesia into a great green hydrogen exporter. And I'd say, ladies and gentlemen, there is no reason not to believe in green hydrogen. Certainly, I don't see it in any way as competitive to batteries. I'm a massive believer in batteries. We own Williams Advanced Engineering, which is the leading prototype cutting-edge technology for batteries in the world. Just give you one example. Our other company, Fortescue Metals Group, introduced as a mining giant, that's true, has the biggest, heaviest, fastest bulk trains in the world. We go 500 kilometres from an altitude of only 600 metres down to sea level, and our trains carry 38,000 tonnes per load. But Williams Advanced Engineering, and I can't wait, sir, till you mass produce these batteries for heavy industry everywhere, Williams Advanced Engineering introduced batteries powerful enough that just the parabolic gravitational energy from going down the hill, even though it's 500 kilometres, was way more energy than we needed to send that train back up the hill. It created the infinity train, zero pollution, zero external source of energy. And that's where I'd like to leave you, ladies and gentlemen, in my short speech. Fortescue Metals Group and Fortescue Future Industries have been pioneering advanced technology in green energy now for many, many years, some 10 years. We've spent hundreds of millions of dollars, and we're more than satisfied with the outcome. We've committed last year, and fully funding it this year, to invest $6.2 billion to step Fortescue Metals Group totally beyond fossil fuels. In that process, we will save $3 billion of just not buying oil, gas and diesel. Our net investment, $3.2 billion. Our savings, almost $1 billion a year, because we no longer have to buy fossil fuel. Now, that is a fantastic investment. And I say to every Indonesian here, you are blessed with enormous renewable energy. It is all around you, it's flowing down your hills, you have great wind energy offshore. Let's capture it. Asia, Indonesia-led, let's turn this world green. And let's start with us, ladies and gentlemen. We're all senior here. We're chairmen, chief executives. We need to challenge our remuneration committees, our boards of directors, to place at the height of incentives for our CEOs, that they turn their companies green. They also step them beyond fossil fuel. They use the huge amount of green energy which is available in the world, and they leave a world a safe place for their children. Thank you.
Again, thank you all for all these insightful points of view. Now let's move to our Q&A sessions. First, I would like to go to Mr. Luhut. So, learning from past experiences as we are exploring the innovative paths, so what initiatives or approaches should emerging economy like Indonesia to implement in order to successfully implement this sustainable resource management? Please.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think like developing country like Indonesia, we have a lot of national resources. We like to see also, of course, the value added, because with the value added, then we can improve the quality of technology, quality of human resources, and others. Besides that, of course, our exports are going to be bigger, so make our economy stronger. But the issue later on, how do we keep the sustainable of this raw material? We love very much also to discuss with the Chinese technology, and we build right now in Morowali that we can, extract again. Give example like nickel ore, the nickel ore from the used computer or lithium battery, etc. 99%, which is I think the very beautiful technology. So then we can manage now. We can see the equilibrium of the nickel supply and also the nickel extract from the lithium battery. So we care very much now. Like I mentioned many times everywhere, a lot of young people in Indonesia right now understand this thing. Nobody can dictate Indonesia on this anymore. So as long as benefit you and benefit us, we're going to do that. Not like 50 years ago, you just dig, and then you export. That's over. We're not going to happen again in Indonesia because we like to see something happen in Indonesia. We like to see the value added. We like to see also the people of Indonesia enjoy the raw material that we have here. Not only that, I think, if you look at now, we have 10 integrated industry in the eastern part of Indonesia. Now, polytechnic, good polytechnic, been there. Before, we don't have. Now, because of that, we have to improve the quality of the high school over there. Junior high school, elementary. So, within 10 to 20 years, you can see Indonesia much different than today. So that's, I think, the importance of this policy. We're not going to be serving only the developed country. No. Developed country, I give you example, the contribution of zero emission. Yeah, the 14.7%, this because of developed country. Indonesia only 2.3%. I can say, we are a victim of your policy before, but we have also responsibility to the next generation of Indonesia. So any policy made by the government of Indonesia, also to the interest of the next generation of Indonesia. You have to keep in your mind this one. So don't worry about that. We'll deliver.
Thank you, Mr. Luhut. Now, next question, I'd like to go to Mr. Zeng Yuqun. Well, as we know, a battery is a device that stores chemical energy and converts into electricity. So, however, considering that most EVs are charged using electricity produced by burning fossil fuels, and the whole EV value chain involves heavy consumptions of electricity, many people doubt whether the battery industry is really green. So what's your take on this?
Thank you for the questions. This question has been asked decades. So someone did a study, Wall Street Journal, University of Toronto, they already did a study to the full comparison between the EV car and a traditional ICE combustion engine car. In a similar grade, for example, it's like a similar grade. So after they started, the first 20,000 marriages, the emission of carbon is similar, reach the same point. So if you go longer, we talk about 100,000 miles. then the EV save 77% less carbon compared with the internal combustion engine cars. So this is already clear, even in today's mixed power generated by the fossil fuels. Secondly, for the battery itself, everyone is thinking about battery. Probably you guys think about a lead acid battery, or you guys think about a primary battery. So how can make the battery green during the manufacturing of the batteries? Definitely innovation is very important. So Secara have been built 2 plants certified by the World Economic Forum. We call a lighthouse manufacturing plant. This is the only 2 battery plant in the world so far being certified as the lighthouse. But one of the plants, I'm very proud of that, is from Sichuan Yibin plant, which is being certified by WEF, zero carbon emission plant. Zero carbon emission, definitely we did it. So with the technology, with the renewable energy, with the energy storage from battery, we can make the battery green, even the manufacturing process. So, and then people try to ask, how is the supplies? How is the mining? So how is the cathode material productions? Yeah, we still have a long way to go to find out what to do. Just like Mr. Lufu said, there's a lot of renewable energy resource in Indonesia. They're talking about 427 gigawatt. So in such a case, you think about a gigawatt, it's times the 1,000 hour, maybe 2,000 hour. That's a huge renewable energy resource. So we can put the energy storage here also to help Indonesia to make Indonesia production of the mining, cathode, battery, cars, everything green. So I have all confidence on that. Thank you.
Since you mentioned the supply chains, I want to do a real quick follow-up questions. You know, the world economy is actually facing a lot of difficulties, including the supply chains disruptions, energy crisis, and trade tensions, and among others, which have hindered the development of many industries, including the EV industries. So I was wondering, what is the biggest challenges for you guys?
Yeah, I think the most challenging in this industry or all industry today is still how to make the innovation technology to overcome everything. Just like I mentioned, the battery was so expensive, people cannot afford it. But if you can make the battery cycle life 10 times, then each cycle, each mileage become very cheap. So you can afford it. So innovation is so important in everywhere, especially in the supply chain. Another thing is, for example, the material price going up very quickly. We're talking about lithium carbonate, we're talking about nickel. But if we can do the recycles, at the end of the day, 99% recycle the materials. So at the whole society, the material become very cheap and also sustainable, affordable. Another reason is recycle. Recycle need good technology to do the recycles. Good technology come out again, innovations. So key challenge to us, to this industry, is we need to keep on doing the innovation things. Another example is the sodium battery we invent. I was proud of that because sodium is abundant. There's a lot of sodium in the world. How can make the sodium battery compatible with the lithium iron phosphate battery, a similar energy density or even higher a little bit? Currently, yeah, first generation, yeah, it will be lower. But the second or third generation on the road can be higher. So the most important for the society, for everyone in the world, is give little pension, give little encouragement for the innovation of the people. Give the support on education, give the support on R&D. I do believe technology will change the world. And even anything else will be the second priority. Thank you.
Thank you. It sounds like an ecosystem. Every dot is connected together with technologies and sustainable development. Alrighty, thank you again. So, Mr. Andrew Forrest, with the decades of your experiences in business industries and everything, how can we demonstrate to the world's major economies that acting sustainably can be done without sacrificing economic growth?
Very good question. I think Fortescue is a role model of that. We aren't Indonesian, so we can't capture so much offshore wind, so much hydropower, but every country in the world has its own sources of green energy, some more, some less. But we now have the democratization of energy, where energy doesn't have to come from some despotic country which uses it as a weapon against other countries. We now produce energy everywhere. And the technology spoken of here by my friend, absolutely correct. The technology is changing super fast. I've shown you just one example of trains. But let's not forget that batteries take us to a point, but after that, we need a mobile fuel source. And that mobile fuel source is, of course, hydrogen, all its derivatives, ammonia, artificial methane, artificial LNG, artificial aviation fuels. These are all made from the miracle molecule of green hydrogen. And, you know, I'll sign an MOU with a major Indonesian company this afternoon. We're going to make green pig iron, we're going to make green steel. You know, we can't do that with a battery. We need that chemical reaction which we get from hydrogen. We're doing the same thing in Western Australia. We absolutely know that there's a wonderful balance between batteries, which we're investing in, the cutting edge technology in the world, and in green hydrogen. So my strong, earnest appeal to the leadership of Indonesia, to the leadership of the world is, yes, let's get after batteries, we're all doing it, but let's always remember how valid your question was. If the batteries are not powered with green energy, then they're nowhere near as good as they could be. Let's go for utopia, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have the world's cutting-edge batteries from supply sources which are competitive, all powered by green energy. The solutions are there, we've just got to go after it.
So how can companies like yours, you know, to ensure resources are not depleted to the point where it will impact the future generations?
Okay, I'm not a subscriber to the world running out of metals. I mean, I have seen huge copper deposits reveal themselves, huge rare earth deposits. I don't think we need to go anywhere near deep sea mining. As the price level shifts up, massive deposits become commercial. Price level shifts down, they stop being commercial. But we're not short of the molecules on the terrestrial Earth crust for copper, nickel, niobium, sodium, titanium. There is enormous resources out there.
Alrighty, thank you again for all your insightful points of view sharing with us here today. So it's almost noon, and for lunch, it's lunchtime. I don't want to hold you guys too long. But before we go, I'd like to ask each of you to give all the viewers here today with us one quick note so that we can take home with. Shall I start with you, Mr. Luhut? One quick note, one word or one sentence you want to share with all of us so we can take home with.
Well, I think I just want to share a message about Indonesia and look at Indonesia differently and don't hesitate about what happened in Indonesia, like with my friend Robin, you know, he's the biggest player on the lithium battery. Now we engage him to be in Indonesia. Same also with Andrew Forrest. So let's do something in Indonesia because we are very rich in the natural resources. We have especially the renewable energy, which is not many countries has this like Indonesia. So again, thank you very much for this opportunity. Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Zheng.
Thank you for the timing. I think invest technology, invest innovation, you'll invest future. Thank you.
And maybe you'll become richer, I guess. Mr. Andrew Forrest.
Look, I'd like to leave you with this scientific point. The world is warming way rapidly than we thought. We thought 2050 was a safe bet. It's not a safe bet at all. What we're seeing around the world are these drying and heating events, which as a scientist you cannot take as coincidence. You can't believe in coincidence. If you've got drying events in China, Indonesia, Australia, America, Europe, all happening at once, that's no coincidence. We have a 2025, not a 2050 problem. So I say to chief executives and chairmen in this room, incentivize your chief executives through your remuneration committees to turn your companies beyond fossil fuel. That's your job. If you're not prepared to do that, hand it over to someone who will. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks again. Well, today we had a very insightful and intriguing discussion, hopefully. I hope every one of you here with us would have something valuable to take home with. But perhaps one last question before we go. What kind of changes should ordinary people like me could make in their daily lives to contribute to the sustainable drives? Thank you everyone again for joining us today live here at the B20 opening panel discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the inspiring talk, and we've got many beneficial insights and also information from the talk.
Baik teman kumparan, baru saja kita saksikan ini panel diskusi tadi dengan narasumber ada Menko Marves Luhut Binsar Panjaitan, kemudian ada juga dari Mr. Zheng dan juga Andrew Forrest, di mana tadi sudah dipaparkan mengenai tema yang diangkat tentang Sustainable Resource Management for Economic Growth. Dan tadi dalam closing statementnya Menko Marves Luhut Binsar Panjaitan ini sekali lagi mengatakan bahwa Indonesia yang kaya akan sumber daya alam ini optimis begitu untuk mampu mengolahnya. Dalam paparan atau dalam presentasinya tadi juga Luhut memaparkan soal keadaan ekonomi yang tumbuh baik begitu ya, yang dipaparkan dalam presentasinya. Dan nantinya teman kumparan akan ada panel diskusi berikutnya, namun dari agenda yang kami terima saat ini sebentar lagi akan ada istirahat atau break dulu sebelum nanti akan ada panel diskusi selanjutnya di siang menjelang sore hari dalam event B20 Summit Indonesia ini. Dan kumparan juga tentunya masih akan melakukan live streaming di sore hari nanti untuk mendengarkan panel-panel tersisa hari ini yang akan dilakukan. Dan tentunya besok di hari kedua masih ada juga panel diskusi dengan narasumber-narasumber yang luar biasa yang akan dihadirkan dalam B20 Summit Indonesia ini. Baik, jelang acara puncak G20 atau G20 pada tanggal 15 dan 16 November 2022, kami sempat melakukan wawancara atau interview eksklusif dengan Menteri Keuangan Republik Indonesia Sri Mulyani yang akan segera kita putarkan untuk kita dengarkan bagaimana Menteri Keuangan Republik Indonesia Ibu Sri Mulyani ini menyampaikan beberapa hal terkait apa saja yang menjadi perhatian atau highlight pemerintah Indonesia dalam pembahasannya di G20 ini. Langsung saja kita akan mendengarkan bersama wawancara eksklusif kumparan dengan Menteri Keuangan Republik Indonesia Sri Mulyani, dan ini juga sekaligus menutup live streaming kita pada saat ini. Kita bertemu kembali teman kumparan di live streaming kumparan terkait event B20 Summit Indonesia sore hari nanti. Saya Melisa Lolindu, terima kasih dan sampai jumpa. Recover together, recover stronger. Ini menjadi tema presidensi G20 Indonesia tahun ini, di mana Indonesia ingin mengajak seluruh dunia bahu-membahu dan saling mendukung untuk pulih bersama dan tumbuh lebih kuat dan berkelanjutan. Kumparan akan berbincang bersama Menteri Keuangan Republik Indonesia Ibu Sri Mulyani tentang apa saja yang menjadi perhatian dan highlight presidensi G20 Indonesia dalam mengantisipasi pandemi yang masih berlanjut ini, kemudian bagaimana antisipasi terhadap perkembangan dan gejolak ekonomi di tahun-tahun mendatang. Bersama saya, Melisa Lolindu. Halo Ibu.
Apa kabar Melisa?
Melisa baik, Ibu apa kabar?
Alhamdulillah.
Terima kasih Ibu, ini menyempatkan waktu dengan Kumparan. Kami tahu di tengah-tengah jadwal yang padat, ini kita selipin untuk wawancara. Terima kasih banyak udah menyempatkan waktunya.
Sama-sama.
Baik, teman Kumparan, saat ini kita bersama dengan Menteri Keuangan Republik Indonesia Ibu Sri Mulyani. Dan langsung saja Ibu, kalau kita berbicara mengenai presidensi G20 Indonesia, apa yang menjadi perhatian atau highlight dari pemerintah Indonesia dalam pembahasan presidensi G20 ini untuk mengantisipasi pandemi yang masih berjalan?
Ya, pertama presidensi G20 yang dicanangkan oleh Bapak Presiden dan akan mencapai puncaknya minggu depan ya dalam pertemuan KTT, konferensi tingkat tinggi tingkat kepala negara. Tema yang selama ini disampaikan Indonesia adalah recover together, recover stronger. Ini karena di dalam konteks waktu kita memegang presidensi G20, tentu keinginan Indonesia seluruh dunia, tidak hanya kelompok G20, tidak hanya Indonesia, tapi seluruh dunia, terutama negara-negara developing, negara berkembang, negara low income, mereka mampu untuk pulih ya bersama-sama sesudah pandemi dan pulih lebih kuat. Makanya recover together, recover stronger. Namun kan sesudah pandemi memasuki tahun ketiga, tantangan dunia juga sangat dinamis berubah. Jadi selain pandeminya sendiri yang masih tetap harus ditangani ya, walaupun ini udah masuk ke tahun yang ketiga, kita juga melihat adanya tantangan baru seperti krisis pangan, krisis energi, konflik yang terjadi di Ukraina, dan juga munculnya krisis seperti climate change. Ini yang harus kita tangani juga. Oleh karena itu, di dalam pertemuan hari ini ya, yang ini adalah hari terakhir untuk pertemuan Menteri Keuangan dan Menteri Kesehatan.
Baik. Pas
kebetulan adalah hari kesehatan juga buat kita. Kita akan membahas mengenai bagaimana dunia bisa merespons lebih baik pandemi yang kemungkinan akan terjadi di masa yang akan datang. Karena COVID ini tidak hanya menjadi pandemi pertama dan terakhir. Kita akan mengantisipasi kalau terjadi pandemi yang sama, bagaimana dunia bisa prepare ya, menyiapkan lebih baik dan merespons lebih baik. Makanya kita sebut preparedness and response dari sisi pandemi. Nah, salah satu syarat untuk bisa merespons dan mempersiapkan lebih baik adalah keuangannya.
Betul, ya.
Ya, jadi makanya kita ada join antara Menteri Keuangan dengan Menteri Kesehatan membicarakan tentang aspek pendanaan dari sisi penanganan pandemi. Namun tidak hanya masalah uang, ada juga masalah tata kelola, arsitektur dari kesehatan dunia. Gimana caranya? Karena kalau pandemi itu kan yang kena seluruh dunia ya, Indonesia ya. Jadi bagaimana negara harus bekerja sama, protokol kesehatannya seperti apa, bagaimana nanti produksi vaksin, bagaimana mendistribusikannya, sehingga jangan sampai ada negara yang tertinggal atau tidak bisa menghadapi pandemi yang kemudian menimbulkan resiko kepada seluruh dunia.
Baik, kalau komitmen dari presidensi G20 Indonesia sendiri Bu terkait pendanaan tersebut seperti apa Bu? Mungkin boleh diberikan informasi sejauh ini dana yang sudah terkumpul, alokasinya bagaimana Ibu?
Pertama di dalam leaders meeting tahun lalu di Roma, memang disebutkan bahwa untuk dunia bisa menangani pandemi secara lebih baik dan memiliki respons lebih baik, maka perlu dilakukan mobilisasi pendanaan karena kebutuhan pendanaannya itu bisa mencapai 10 billion US dollar untuk seluruh dunia ya dalam hal ini. Dan oleh karena itu G20 diminta untuk menyusun strategi bagaimana mobilisasi dana untuk kebutuhan pandemi ini. Nah, salah satu strateginya adalah membentuk apa yang disebut Financial Intermediary Fund. Pendanaan yang kemudian berlokasi di Bank Dunia, namun WHO sebagai World Health Organization sebagai organisasi kesehatan dunia harus tetap diperkuat sehingga dia bisa mendapatkan manfaat dari pendanaan tersebut. Nah, ini yang kemudian dicapai oleh Presidensi Indonesia. Kita mengerjakan dengan Joint Secretariat, Task Force, dan kita pada akhirnya mampu mengumpulkan dan membentuk FIF itu, nanti disebutnya Pandemi Fund yang Bapak Presiden akan meluncurkan besok ya dalam hal ini. Dan saat ini sudah ada 15 kontributor, ada founding countries-nya termasuk negara-negara yang ada di G20 maupun non G20, Indonesia termasuk di dalamnya, tapi juga ada yang berasal dari foundation atau NGO internasional yang mereka ikut mengkontribusikan. Jumlahnya sudah mencapai 1,4 billion dan kita berharap semua G20 akan ikut berkontribusi maupun yang non G20. Sekarang kita sudah bicara tentang yang memimpin dari Pandemic Fund ini, termasuk mantan Menteri Keuangan kita Pak Hathaway dengan Menteri Kesehatan dari Rwanda. Dan kita akan bicara mengenai bagaimana menggunakan dana itu di dalam mendukung negara-negara, terutama negara developing dan negara low income country di dalam menyiapkan pandemi yang akan datang.
Baik, untuk proyeksi alokasinya sendiri seperti yang tadi Ibu katakan, untuk memastikan vaskes, infrastruktur, kemudian vaksin juga seperti itu ya Bu, dan apa lagi?
Ya, kalau kita belajar dari pandemi kemarin kan banyak aspek yang mesti harus diperkuat, terutama untuk negara-negara berkembang. Tapi pertama protokol kesehatan. Kalau seandainya terjadi outbreak, bagaimana protokol kesehatan harus di-establish, bagaimana responsnya, information sharing seperti apa, sehingga jangan sampai pandeminya menyebar, orang masih belum agree ya, belum setuju antar negara, akhirnya pandeminya menjadi real pandemi keseluruhan yang menimbulkan dampak yang luar biasa besar. Jadi protokol kesehatan penting. Kemudian kita juga mengetahui waktu kita bicara tentang pandemi, sistem kesehatan setiap negara menjadi sangat penting. Protokol di dalam negeri, alat pelindung diri, bagaimana kita mengakses testing, bagaimana laboratoriumnya siap untuk melakukan assessment terhadap jenis virusnya. Kemudian juga vaksin, produksi vaksin dan bagaimana pelaksanaan vaksinasi. Karena nggak mungkin walaupun dikasih vaksin, tapi kalau nggak punya sistem kesehatan untuk bisa menjalankan vaksinasi, mereka juga tidak akan bisa melakukan vaksinasi.
Baik, benar-benar dari hulu ke hilir ya Ibu ya?
Semuanya ya.
Baik, itu kalau soal bagaimana untuk mengantisipasi pandemi yang masih berlangsung. Kemudian selanjutnya ini isu yang beberapa waktu belakangan juga sempat ramai Bu, bukan hanya di TV tapi di sosmed juga, mulai dari anak muda sampai orang tua, soal resesi global Bu 2023 yang katanya diproyeksikan bisa jadi akan terjadi resesi global di 2023. Nah, bagaimana antisipasinya Bu dari Indonesia dan negara-negara G20?
Pertama, G20 itu adalah forum kerjasama ekonomi global yang utama. Kita sebutnya adalah Global Economic Cooperation Forum yang premier, ya. Sehingga di situ memang awalnya dibentuknya G20 pada level KTT memang untuk membahas masalah ancaman terhadap ekonomi dunia. Waktu itu tahun 2008-2009 adalah financial sector, terutama krisis perbankan. Kalau sekarang pandemi dan sekarang muncul geopolitik, climate change dan juga masalah kemungkinan terjadinya inflasi dan resesi. Nah, oleh karena itu di dalam forum G20 ini diharapkan apabila kepala-kepala negara dari G20 bisa bertemu, bersepakat, membicarakan dan melihat risiko dunia, maka bisa ada semacam komitmen bersama untuk bagaimana kita mengurangi atau menghindarkan dari resiko-resiko tersebut. Umpamanya kebijakan fiskal, APBN masing-masing negara harus seperti apa supaya kita bisa saling melengkapi, jangan saling melemahkan dalam membangun entah infrastruktur, mengurangi kemiskinan, menghadapi krisis pangan, menghadapi krisis energi. Instrumen kebijakan seperti apa yang akan digunakan, bagaimana kerjasama bisa dibuat sehingga dampaknya menjadi lebih sedikit atau bahkan diminimalkan. Bagaimana kita bekerja sama dari sisi moneter, karena sekarang ini yang sering dan menjadi sorotan adalah kenaikan suku bunga yang sangat cepat dari negara-negara maju seperti Amerika dan Eropa. Bagaimana mengkalibrasikan lagi, menyampaikan dan merencanakan secara baik sehingga adjustment bisa terjadi secara lebih baik dari kondisi yang memang masing-masing negara harus mengatasinya, seperti inflasi yang tinggi, kemudian inflasi yang berasal dari pangan dan energi. Bagaimana mengatasi masalah pangan ini? Produksi pangannya ada di mana, negara-negara yang membutuhkan di mana saja, financingnya seperti apa, distribusi dan transportasinya seperti apa. Ini yang akan menjadi tema-tema yang tidak hanya dibahas tapi juga diidentifikasi untuk bisa diatasi. Jadi pertemuan G20 ini sangat-sangat strategis karena para pimpinan negara dari ekonomi 80% dunia akan bersepakat untuk bisa mengatasi masalah-masalah yang memang memberikan risiko besar bagi setiap negara.
Baik, tadi Ibu Menteri udah sempat singgung sedikit terkait APBN. Kami mau masuk tanya soal APBN untuk target realisasi belanja APBN sendiri di 2022 ini bagaimana Bu, seperti apa?
Saya setiap bulan sudah selalu menyampaikan ya ke media mengenai perkembangan pelaksanaan APBN. Seperti diketahui anggaran pendapatan belanja negara itu ditetapkan melalui undang-undang. Jadi kita bahas dengan DPR untuk tahun 2022 ini berarti dibahas tahun lalu oleh DPR. Kemudian kita kerjakan dan ini sekarang sudah sampai bulan November.
Betul.
Jadi kita tinggal 1 bulan lagi untuk menutup tahun anggaran 2022. Nah, setiap APBN itu sudah dialokasikan sesudah pembahasan dengan kabinet dulu, kemudian dengan DPR. Kita sudah menyetujui bahwa belanja pemerintah pusat akan sekian banyak, belanja untuk kementerian lembaga akan seperti ini, katakanlah untuk infrastruktur di PUPR, pendidikan, kesehatan, kita bicara tentang bantuan sosial, Kementerian Pertahanan, Kementerian Kesehatan, itu semuanya kita sudah ada alokasi masing-masing menteri, kementerian memiliki rencana untuk menggunakan anggaran belanjanya pada tahun 2022 ini. Nah, sekarang sudah bulan November dan kita lihat kemarin masih belanja di pemerintah pusat itu levelnya masih di sekitar 65%. Ini kan berarti masih ada 35% ya yang harusnya mereka tadinya sudah merencanakan untuk melakukan dan menggunakannya, apakah akan bisa dibelanjakan, dan kalaupun dibelanjakan jangan lupa tetap kualitas belanjanya harus tetap baik. Jadi jangan sampai pokoknya asal belanja, asal menghabiskan. Belum 1/3 atau 1/3 dari belanja kita juga adalah belanja ke daerah. Kita transfer ke pemerintah daerah, provinsi, sampai kabupaten, dan sampai dengan kota, dan juga bahkan sampai ke desa, karena ada dana desa.
Betul.
Nah, jadi kita juga akan lihat seberapa kemajuan dari transfer ini dan apakah transfernya kemudian dipakai sesuai dengan rencana masing-masing. Nah, memang ini adalah makanya kalau setiap bulan kami di Kementerian Keuangan menyampaikan ini loh belanjanya dari masing-masing kementerian, pemerintah daerah. Ini tujuannya untuk memberikan informasi kepada kementerian lembaga dan juga kepada daerah agar mereka bisa mengeksekusi rencana mereka sendiri dan penggunaan anggarannya secara baik.
Baik, artinya kualitas penyerapan sisa anggarannya sejauh ini
masih sangat terkonsentrasi pada bulan-bulan terakhir. Ini yang menimbulkan mungkin dampak dari APBN kita menjadi tertunda sampai pada bulan-bulan terakhir. Kita akan lihat bulan November ini dan Desember nanti akan banyak sekali belanja-belanja yang akan terrealisir.
Baik, baik. Ibu, selanjutnya mungkin ini pertanyaan yang sedikit apa ya, kalau kita berbicara jika nanti ada peluang untuk terjadi perlambatan ekonomi di tahun 2023, akankah mungkin ada alokasi bantuan dinaikkan atau seperti apa Bu? Kira-kira nih rencana untuk antisipasinya?
Ya pertama kita melihat perekonomian kita sampai kuartal ketiga, alhamdulillah kemarin pertumbuhannya sangat baik. Di 5,72. Jadi ini adalah suatu momentum pertumbuhan ekonomi yang kita syukuri, tidak berarti bahwa kita berpuas diri. Kita lihat umpamanya konsumsi cukup baik, tapi itu terutama konsumsi kelas menengah atas. Berarti kita harus memperhatikan mereka yang ada di dalam kelas menengah bawah, bagaimana kita bisa memberikan dukungan lebih banyak atau lebih kuat kepada mereka. Kita juga lihat kepada sektor-sektor ekonomi. Dari sisi ini, manufacturing masih tumbuh sangat tinggi, perdagangan bagus, kita lihat pertambangan naik, pertanian masih juga positif, jasa-jasa juga bagus. Kita masih melihat for example konstruksi itu masih pertumbuhannya masih relatif lemah. Tumbuh sih tapi tidak setinggi dengan sektor yang lain. Dan kalau kita lihat yang selama ini terpukul sangat berat dari pandemi seperti tourism, restoran, akomodasi, makanan dan minuman itu sudah tumbuh cukup tinggi. Ya, sama seperti kayak G20 ini juga upaya kita untuk memulihkan sektor pariwisata. Jadi kalau momentum pemulihan ini terus kita jaga, caranya apa? Daya beli masyarakat kita perbaiki, bansos yang memang diperuntukkan bagi kelompok menengah bawah kita tetap execute. Kita juga menggunakan APBN sebagai absorpsi shock gitu ya. Kalau terjadi shock seperti kenaikan harga minyak, kenaikan harga pangan, itu kita coba untuk mengurangi dampak negatifnya ke masyarakat. Nah kalau itu dilakukan tahun 2023 kita tetap berharap momentum pertumbuhan ekonomi kita masih cukup baik. Yang kita waspadai seperti yang tadi disampaikan adalah kalau lingkungan globalnya melemah. Ini karena tadi banyak negara yang inflasinya sangat tinggi, suku bunga dinaikkan oleh bank sentralnya, sehingga ini bisa melemahkan pertumbuhan ekonomi mereka. Amerika melakukan begitu, Inggris melakukan begitu, Eropa melakukan begitu. Dan ini harus kita waspadai, karena RRT juga punya persoalan sendiri. Jadi kita harus mencoba untuk melihat dampaknya ke ekonomi Indonesia seperti apa. Apakah ini kena ekspor kita, komoditas kita, dan kita melakukan berbagai antisipasi terhadap hal tersebut.
Ya, justru itu yang menjadi fokus untuk antisipasinya. Ya Ibu, yang melihat pertumbuhan ekonomi kita diharapkan di tahun berikutnya juga semakin meningkat lagi.
Tetap baik.
Tetap baik. Baik, Ibu, di momen G20 ini juga ada yang namanya kita pakai mobil listrik. Ya, betul ya Ibu. Ibu pakai juga naik itu juga gimana
nanti
rasanya?
assignment. Ya. Ya, ini adalah salah satu bentuk bagi Indonesia untuk showcase bahwa kalau kita bicara tentang pertumbuhan ekonomi, tapi kita juga sayang terhadap bumi kita, di mana sekarang bumi dihadapkan pada ancaman climate change, maka kita perlu untuk transformasikan ekonomi kita kepada ekonomi hijau. Salah satunya tentu kita jaga hutan kita secara baik, kita jaga supaya transportasi sekarang lebih menggunakan less fossil fuel. Dan oleh karena itu di dalam policy fiskal kita sekarang kita mendorong penggunaan mobil yang emisinya lebih rendah. Kalau kita lihat penggunaan PPN tarif sekarang yang emisinya rendah seperti electric vehicle yaitu mobil listrik, itu PPN BM-nya paling kecil atau bahkan nol. Kemudian yang memang polusinya lebih banyak mereka harus membayar lebih banyak. Itu tentu akan membutuhkan banyak sekali apa yang disebut policy untuk mendukung perubahan tingkah laku masyarakat, tapi juga kesiapan industri dan kesiapan infrastrukturnya. Jadi mobil listrik yang ada di G20 ini lebih merupakan showcase bagi Indonesia untuk menunjukkan bahwa kita punya tekad loh, dan kita punya juga industri yang di mana produksi electric vehicle di Indonesia akan semakin ditingkatkan. itu berarti kita mendukung industrialisasi di Indonesia. Kita bicara tentang industrinya, tidak hanya mobilnya tapi baterainya juga. Dan oleh karena itu konsumen juga mulai disiapkan untuk bisa pindah ke situ.
Baik, Ibu, satu deh terakhir ini, kalau tadi kan ngobrolin program, ini mungkin lebih ke personal Ibu aja nih. Kita pengen tahu tips dan trik Ibu membagi waktu antara pekerjaan, kesehatan, keluarga. Ada nggak tips dan trik sederhana saja, singkat saja dari Ibu Menteri Keuangan?
Kalau membagi waktu satu hari itu 24 jam seminggu, 7 hari seminggu, nggak ada bedanya Menteri Keuangan atau Melisa atau siapa saja. Jadi artinya kalau kita tugas lagi banyak ya kita harus lebih banyak disiplin. Artinya ya untuk keluarga kita komunikasikan. Kalau kita sedang sangat sibuk seperti yang terjadi hari-hari ini ya mereka akan tahu bahwa Ibu sedang sibuk. Gitu. Nanti kalau sudah selesai ya kita akan coba waktu sejenak untuk menyempatkan diri bersama keluarga. Jadi ya kita tahu nggak selalu harus setiap minggu harus sama, hari Senin kita harus begini, Sabtu harus begini, Jumat begini, enggak. Tapi kita lebih fleksibel, tapi komunikasi yang paling penting. Bahwa kita menyampaikan ini loh tugas yang sedang dihadapi, saya ada di sini, saya sedang mengerjakan ini. Keluarga ya kita harap semuanya baik. Kalau untuk kesehatan ya disiplin aja antara beban tugas, which is banyak, kemudian kebutuhan untuk bisa istirahat dan makanan yang sehat serta exercise. Saya rasa itu yang sama.